Hi everyone and welcome to Biggest Things TV. In today's video, we'll see the biggest nuclear bombs to ever be detonated. Since the first nuclear test in 1945, countries all around the world have made over 2,000 more nuclear weapons tests. Throughout history, there have been many nuclear threats, each one bigger than the other. Here are the 10 biggest nuclear explosions ever. At number 10, Trinity. Trinity was the code name for the first ever detonation of a nuclear bomb by the United States Army. It had been in development since the 1930s. The test took place at the Trinity site in New Mexico in July of 1945. It produced 22 kilotons of power. It was the first time in North America that a nuclear detonation took place. Trinity would be one of the final prototypes of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs. For the test, the weapon nicknamed the Gadget was mounted on a 100 feet tall tower, where it would be dropped on the ground beneath at 5:30 a.m. on July 16th. The tower instantly melted as the fire mushroom formed over the desert sky. Over 400 people were admitted near the site to watch this historical event. This was the start of the nuclear age. Number 9 is Redwing Cherokee. The Cherokee nuclear bomb was developed by the U.S. between 1955 and 1957. This first ever airdrop test was a demonstration of the United States' capability to deliver nuclear bombs by air to pressure the Soviet Union. It was the second-generation bomb of the Redwing operation, and it produced 3.8 megatons of power. Redwing Cherokee was part of the Mark 15 nuclear bomb series, and around 400 units of it were produced for the U.S. Army. Fortunately, none of them were used except for this test drop. Number 8. B-41. The B-41, also known as Mark 41, is the most powerful nuclear bomb ever developed by the United States. Although it is certainly scary and powerful, it was never used nor tested by the U.S. The weapon was deployed in the early 1960s and weighed over 10,000 pounds. 500 of these nuclear bombs were manufactured. A single one of them had the ability to produce over 25 megatons of power. That's 25 million tons of TNT. The blast and radiations of the B-41 could have been felt at almost 30 miles away from the detonation. Fortunately, they were all retired in 1973. Next on our list is number 7, Ivy Mike. Ivy Mike was detonated on November 1, 1952, during a test conducted by the United States. The bomb had a power of 10.4 megatons. That's over 700 times as strong as the first ever atomic bomb, the Trinity. Ivy Mike was dropped over the Marshall Islands, more precisely on Elugalab Island. The hydrogen bomb completely vaporized the island, leaving in its place a huge crater which is still visible to this day. The crater measures more than 6,000 feet across and is 164 feet deep. The blast created a mushroom of more than 56,000 feet in the air. That's almost twice as high as the cruising altitude of a Boeing 747. Unfortunately, due to miscalculations on Ivy Mike's detonation radius, one of the U.S. Air Force pilots in charge of collecting air samples died during the explosion. Coming in at number 6, Redwing Tewa. Not a lot of information about this nuclear test is available. The test took place in 1956 and produced over 5 megatons of power. This nuclear weapon was detonated in the Bikini Atoll of the Marshall Islands. The bomb weighed an astonishing 15,000 pounds, and the crater left by the blast measured 4,000 feet in diameter and was 129 feet deep. Tewa was a prototype that would later lead to the creation of the B-41 nuclear bomb. Number 5. Castle Romeo. Romeo was actually the second nuclear blast of the Castle series from the United States. This bomb was the third most powerful of the series, and despite being estimated to yield 3 to 5 megatons, it produced over 11 megatons of power. That's 11 million tons of TNT. Pretty impressive, huh? The bomb was detonated in 1954 over the Bikini Atoll in the Marshall Islands. This was the first ever nuclear bomb to be detonated over water instead of on the ground. That's because the US was making so many nuclear tests at the time that they quickly ran out of islands to test on, as they were all getting obliterated by other bombs. This picture of the Romeo detonation is one of the most popular nuclear explosion pictures in the world. It was used in many articles, album covers, and video games. Fourth place belongs to the Soviet test number 123. On October 23, 1961, Russia conducted the nuclear test number 123, nicknamed Joe 106. The bomb was dropped over Novaya Zemlya, an archipelago in Arctic Russia. The bomb dropped during test number 123 produced over 12.5 megatons of power. A nuclear bomb of this size would incinerate everything in an area of 2.11 square miles and would cause third-degree burns within 1,309 square miles of the detonation. Little else is known about this test. No footage or photographs of this nuclear explosion have ever been released. Number 3. Castle Yankee. Castle Yankee was the second largest test of the Castle series, right after Castle Romeo. It took place on May 5, 1954. The bomb was detonated at the Bikini Atoll of the Marshall Islands on a small boat in the middle of a crater left from a previous test. Yankee was estimated to produce only 3 to 6 megatons, but due to miscalculations, the nuclear bomb produced over 13.5 megatons. This would be enough to completely destroy a medium-sized city and even cause third-degree burns in an area of more than 2,000 square miles. Due to extremely high winds, the detonation's fallout reached Mexico City in less than 4 days, about 7,100 miles away from the site. No casualties were officially reported. The second biggest nuclear bomb in the world is Castle Bravo. Castle Bravo was detonated on March 1, 1954. It was the first test of the Castle series and was also the largest U.S. nuclear blast of all time. Bravo was estimated to produce a 6 megaton explosion, but instead produced a huge 15 megaton blast. The mushroom cloud reached 114,000 feet into the air and even went past the ozone layer in the stratosphere. Due to another miscalculation of the U.S. Army, the detonation irradiated more than 600 inhabitants of the Marshall Islands, and even caused the death of a Japanese fisherman who was 80 miles away from the site during the explosion. And finally, in first place, the biggest nuclear explosion to ever take place on Earth, the Tsar Bomba. On October 30 of 1961, Russia detonated the largest nuclear bomb to ever be tested. The exact number isn't known, but it was estimated that this insane explosion produced over 50 megatons of power. That's 3,000 times the force of the bomb used on Hiroshima. The Tsar Bomba was dropped on the Novaya Zemlya archipelago, the same place at which Russia led previous nuclear tests. This mind-blowing nuclear weapon weighed 60,000 pounds and measured 8 meters in length. The bomb did not leave a crater as it was detonated in the air, but the fireball created by the blast instantly got 5 miles wide and almost reached the plane that dropped it. It created a fire mushroom of over 210,000 feet. That's over 7 times the height of Mount Everest. Wow! The flash of light created by the blast was visible from over 600 miles away. It was reported that windows broke at a distance of up to 560 miles from the site. This bomb would have been enough to completely annihilate almost any city in the world. The Tsar Bomba test was meant to be kept a secret by the USSR at the time, but it was still detected by the US as they apparently had an aircraft close enough to be irradiated. As scientists rapidly realized the danger of nuclear armament and its negative effects on nature, most major countries agreed on July 1 of 1968 to sign a treaty called the Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. This would be the end of nuclear weapons as we know them. Only some countries didn't sign the treaty and are still developing their nuclear armament. Maybe an even more powerful nuclear bomb will be safely tested in the future. Who knows? That's it for today. Thank you for watching until the end. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up. This will help us a ton in showing this video to more people and growing the channel. Also, let us know in the comments what are your thoughts about the 10 biggest nuclear blasts of all time. Thanks again for watching, and see you soon!